So the problem right now we have in the status quo is that fast, reliable, and cross-platform data transfer methods don't really exist. And so because of that, we want to create this application where we could solve all of those problems, and that's exactly what we've done.
So this problem exists for three major groups of people, and the first group of people is just ordinary consumers, and these ordinary consumers wish to share their information quickly, reliably, and very securely, and these methods don't really exist, and they need that problem to be solved. Underdeveloped countries and places that are disaster struck, they need an infrastructure and a large Wi-Fi network to be able to broadcast information, and they don't have that. They can't afford to spend money on it, and they need a solution to that. And finally, businesses, they would like an intranet, and they'd like a way for their employees to communicate with each other without them having to set up a network or exchange much contact information, and they don't have that.
To quantify this problem, over 73% of US households own some sort of connected device. And in third world countries, in underdeveloped areas, while over 60% of people have access to some sort of basic device, without an effective cross-platform file transfer system, governments are unable to transfer crucial and often life-saving messages to them.
All right, so our solution was that almost every device has some sort of microphone or speaker. So we're using rapid, high frequency, but quiet sound waves to transfer the types of data that we need users to be able to transfer, irrespective of the platform they're using. And so we've made SoundShare. So now I'm going to give you a really quick demo on how this application works. And the very first thing we're going to do here is I'm going to show you the first prototype we had after making this at our 24-hour hackathon. So what I'm going to do is on this phone, I'm just going to go ahead and type in some text. Can I get your favorite color here? Blue. All right, awesome. So I'm going to type in blue, and you can see it has blue written right there. And now I'm going to do what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and scan, and I'm going to start. And on the other device, it shows the exact word blue. So now what we've shown you is the very first version of our prototype. But now what we want to show you is by using essentially these high frequency sounds and by using something called FFT, which allows us to throw away any sort of disturbances or extra noises, we can transfer things really fast and really quietly. So now what we're going to show you, Arnav's going to go ahead right over there, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to open up the second version of our app. 1 second here. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to show you that we can in fact transfer not only text, but also images. So I'm going to go ahead and click broadcast. I'm going to pick an image, and let's see here. I'm just going to go ahead and select my business card. It's just a small photo, and now I'm going to go ahead and click send. Meanwhile, Arnav is going to start scanning, and now it's broadcasting with high frequency sound waves. It's throwing out any disturbances, and soon enough, his phone will be able to pick it up. And then he gets a message if he wants to view. He clicks accept and view, and that same photo is now in Arnav's phone, used with the magic of sound.
So just a bit of info into how the technology works. As Nakul mentioned, we have a fast Fourier transform, which basically discretely samples the sound waves, and then he uses some basic calculus to essentially decompose that sound into its base frequencies, at which point we can throw out the smaller frequencies, the low frequencies that we know are just interference, and take the high frequencies, and essentially use that to portray the bits, which we can convert into images. And we also use lossless data compression, so that we need like the minimal amount of frequency to actually get the sound across. And we also have RSA 256-bit encryption on the system itself, so that so the hackers cannot tap into our data and get the critical file information.
And so by using all these techniques together, we're able to transfer all of this and translate it into essentially a hexadecimal format, which is then used with the sound to be able to transfer this sort of data.
So what makes SoundShare truly superior to similar companies is that while other companies may lack the ability to transfer without Wi-Fi or Bluetooth or decentralized security, which is the fact that our company is able to process messages without working on one server that can then be hacked. And we have that while other products may not. And we also do not need much contact information swapping or all the devices to be of one kind. For example, AirDrop requires all Apple devices, but we're cross-platform.
All right, so now let's move into some of our financial highlights and capital. So as you can see here, we have some really awesome accomplishments that we've done in the past few months. And so one of those things is that we are looking into crowdfunding efforts, and we've actually been really successful in that area. The second thing we've been able to do is create this sort of beta release version, and that global release is going to happen in June, and we've had a lot of signups, as we'll talk about later. And then we've also actually gotten some preliminary VC interest. At the regional level, in fact, we had one of the judges reach out to us after the event was over and give us his business card and ask him to please contact him. We've also, or I have talked to the COO of Dropbox, who is Dennis Woodside, and he's also explained that there's actually a really neat way to be able to transfer data.